Hello, so today we are working on this month's Patreon reward, and this theme is actually redrawing of an old version, which is on the left side here. And then you will also see my husband's version of the artwork as well. And I'm not sure how long I'll be streaming for, so we'll just go with the flow and see how far we get. Right now I'm working on rendering the artwork. You guys can hear the wind outside. I'm sorry. It's been really windy the past few days here. And yesterday it got down to around -40, I think. So it's been pretty crazy weather lately. I've also been having a lot of trouble with this piece of artwork. I feel like the more that I work on it, the more difficult it is to finish. And I think I'm getting overwhelmed by, it doesn't look like a lot of elements, right? But to me, since I draw really simple, it seems like it's a lot of work. I feel like as I continue working on it, I'm getting further and further from finishing it. And I think I'm kind of feeling like how I felt when I first drew this piece of artwork. Hopefully it turns out okay. I have already worked on this for almost 14 hours, I think. Last time I checked was over 13 hours. And then yesterday, before I started working on the hair, which took forever, I was at 13 hours. And I worked a long time on the hair yesterday, and I have to figure out how to color the hair because the way I was trying to do it was way too difficult. And it doesn't suit how, I think it's here, I'll show you guys. It's a little too over the top, I think, for how simple the artwork is. This is how I ended up with the hair, and not exactly sure if that's how I want the hair to look like. So for now, I'm just leaving that for the end. And I'll figure that out once everything else is colored, because for now it might look like too much, but maybe later it might look better. Never know. And depending on how well I focus, because you know how good I am at focusing on things. Hopefully I might finish this tonight or tomorrow, and then even then I still need to do the artwork for the extra Pinto Club and Froggaloo sticker, and hopefully it'll turn out okay. That looks good, I think. Can't forget this one. Okay, I think that's good. So let's go to using the lighter color. I'm doing great. How are you? It's just the weather is just crazy right now. It's about, last time I checked, it was pretty cold. Right now it's negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's really cold in my office space or my studio space, but then in the other rooms it's not that cold. But other than it being cold, I'm doing great. I'm really hoping to finish this piece soon. I've been working on this all week, and I've been having a lot of challenges with this piece. But I know once I finish it, I'll be really happy with that. The original piece, when I was still drawing anime style, also took me a really long time to finish. But in the end, I thought it looked great. So hopefully it's the same for this one. if I have to be truthful, I've been stressing out over this piece. Because there's a lot of things that I'm drawing and that I don't usually draw anymore. So I'm trying to challenge myself to draw them again. For example, I haven't been drawing human characters a lot, so I'm trying to reincorporate human characters into my piece. And there's the fishes that I rarely ever draw fishes, And when I do, they're very simple looking. They're not, to me, this is very detailed. Even though they're like super simple shapes, it took me forever to draw them. But once it's done, I think hopefully it'll look good. My husband did a really good job. I always do this thing when I'm working on a piece of artwork where, because I'll complain about trying to finish it, and I ask my husband, will you finish the artwork for me? And his thing is that he can put mustaches on my characters, and that's his thing. One day I was complaining to him again about finishing it. I said, can you please finish this artwork for me? And he ended up drawing this version on paint, which I think is pretty impressive for an art piece drawn on paint. And he has a mustache on the human character, and he drew that from photographic memory, and I think it's just hilarious. And I told him that we could sell his version on Etsy, and I think it would make we would make a lot of money off of his version. I think it's pretty impressive. And he was also at work when he drew that, so he shouldn't have been drawing that, but he did it anyway. So I think it's super cute. It's pretty impressive. I mean, he used to draw, but just a little bit, and he was drawing more human like characters, more real life stuff, and then he stopped drawing, and I think it was just more of a hobby. It's not something he took really seriously, but I have a fun time seeing him redo my artwork in his little style like that. I had a really good laugh with it, and it made me feel a lot better on working on this piece. I think one of the reasons why I'm struggling with this piece is because while I'm working on this, I'm also remembering like how hard it was when I was drawing the 2019 version. And back then it took me, I think, even twice as long to finish the artwork. And I'm also struggling with the hair, because I'm trying to, for this version, I'm trying to color it almost similar to the 2019 version, but I don't think it's going to work. And it's been a while since I've colored hair anyway, so even though I've colored hair in the past Patreon art prints, there was not as much hair, so it wasn't as bad to do. But because the majority of this print is her hair on the floor, I'm gonna have to figure a way to make it work, and I think I know a way to do it, but that's gonna be at the end when everything else is already rendered. That way I can judge it better while I'm working on it. Oh, I forgot to do the darker parts on this leaf. Okay, that looks better. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you think it's looking cute. I really like it. I'm just super concerned about the hair because it's so much of the art print, and if I don't color it right, it's gonna take forever. And it's just stressing me out because I'm also wanting to start working on my shop update. I've been working on products for the shop update since December, I think. And I'm wanting to really get that shop update up and running because right after the shop update, I also have to start working on stuff for NadashiCon, which is the anime convention that's gonna happen at the end of March here in Quebec City. And I need to start taking inventory, updating inventory of my items, figuring out if I'm going to draw fan art or not for it. And right now it looks like, I think right now I'm probably not gonna draw anything new for it, fan art wise, which I thought I would. But I think it'll be okay because I guess it's just better to just work on the things I have now. And even though I have a month to do it, it's still a long time for me. It takes me a while just to finish things to get produced. And I do want to make some of the memo pads and notepads that I've already created for the convention, and those take me a long time because I cut all the paper with my portrait too. Having a heavy duty paper cutter would be so nice right now. But because I don't know how well the notepad's gonna do, I can't invest in a heavy duty paper cutter yet because I don't have the proof to show that people want my notepads. So I do want to have the notepads for the anime convention. So right after all the shop update stuff, I can finally work on that. But even then, I still have Patreon stuff to do in between that. So a little stressed out from everything. Because if you've watched my past vlogs for preparing for like craft fairs or preparing for a one-day event at a local comic book store, I've only took like a week to prepare for that stuff, and I definitely need longer than a week. I don't know how I was doing it. It was really not good to only take a week to prepare for it, but I managed to do it and it was good. But because this convention is a 3-day convention, I need to start working on it as soon as possible. Hopefully everything will be okay. Okay. Okay, we'll only have this set of the leaves on the left side, and then we'll be done with that. That looks, the leaves in the background look good so far, so happy with that. I was thinking about changing the leaves into just like straight leaves instead of the wiggly leaves like this, but I think I'm gonna just leave them like that. I guess we'll see at the end, because I don't know if having this shaped leaf is too much, because it's also in her hair laurel vine thing. I don't know if it'll be too much, but then maybe it's better to have the same type of leaf throughout the artwork, because then it's consistent. But we'll see when I get closer to doing the leaves in the hair. That's probably the thing I'm dreading the most when it comes to coloring this artwork. All those tiny leaves. While I was working on this, how was I feeling? I was just really worried about all the smaller elements of the art piece, because usually when I draw art, and if you look at my past illustrations, they usually have bigger elements, so there's not as many small elements in my artwork like this piece. And I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to pull the artwork off. But as we're starting to actually render the artwork, it's looking a lot better. Thing is that I really like his version too. I think he was seeing that I should probably sell it on Etsy, and I think that's a good idea to sell his version on Etsy. I think we could profit quite a bit off of it. He did it on paint, so I think it's very nice for artwork on paint. I can't even draw on paint. Even if I tried, I probably couldn't even do nearly as good. He is a MS Paint master. Is that all for the green in the background? I think so. Oh, the sketches right here. What is this? I don't think there's anything on this layer. I hate it when I do that. Okay. Puppy mask. I learned something new when I was drawing this art piece. I mean, other than drawing the fish, I looked up a tutorial on how to draw rocks, because I've never drawn rocks before. And when I did, they're not like really detailed. So I actually looked up a tutorial, and you'll see it in the upcoming studio vlog. I only did one tutorial on how to draw rocks, but it helped a lot. Speaking of the studio vlog, there will not be a studio vlog this week. So this live stream is going to kind of replace it a little bit, because I do not have time to edit a studio vlog. I need to be working on shop update and the Dashicon. So I think there will be a new studio vlog next week, and it'll be hopefully longer. I don't exactly know how much I filmed. I know I didn't film too much of the drawing process of this artwork because I was stressing out about it. So I don't think there's enough footage to make a decent vlog this week, but it'll be for next week. Drawing rocks is actually quite satisfying. Before I didn't really care about them. I just draw like a little shape and whatever, and they're like, "Whoa, there you go. There's the rock." But it's actually kind of fun. It was stressful when I started just to try to figure it out, but I'm glad that I kept it in and tried to push through it. I think it looks pretty decent. Really proud of my rock. I think I put like a little too many extra details because there's a detail behind one of these strands of hairs right here, these two, where there's like a crack in the rock. I covered it with the hair, but at least that's figured out. That's all that matters. Had a lot of fun learning that. So maybe my rocks will look better in the future. Also did a lot of research on drawing the fish, and these toes was really hard to draw too, and just having most or like a lot of her body showing was really hard, because usually you can just, if you wanted to, you could just cover it up with shoes and clothes or whatever. But I decided to challenge myself again. I almost put like flip-flops on her feet or like another pair of shoes to try to cover up her toes. But then I finally did something like I'm okay with. Yesterday I worked on that for a very long time along with her hair. And yeah, that's what I'm going with. The hands, even though like it's really simple pose, I'm a little bit more comfortable drawing hands because I don't know why I'm more comfortable, because back then I did not like drawing hands, but right now it's not too bad. Hands are not too bad. It's feet. I'm glad I figured something out for the feet. Surprisingly, even though I don't draw humans that much, drawing the character in this art wasn't that hard, even with the pose, because I don't really do any special poses or anything too much when it comes to my artwork, because I've been drawing mostly Gato Froggo, Mushroom Kun, and all of them. But then drawing the character, female character, was fairly easy for not drawing characters, for not drawing human characters that much. So I'm happy that that was easier for me. Surprisingly, even though the fish look hard, even though the fish look easy and they're fairly simple shapes, they were pretty hard for me to draw. In the original art piece, I have a copy right here. It's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of sea creatures. So this version does not have the seahorse or the dolphin. Oh, and it's not a dolphin. It's a killer whale. It does not have a killer whale or the seahorse. I almost drew the seahorse, but then I'm like, maybe no, because there's a lot already going on with this version. I wasn't planning to totally change it from the 2019 version. I was going to keep the same pose and the same sea creatures and everything in the same place, just updated in this version. But decided to challenge myself And that's why we have this version like this. And I knew that even though this piece is probably the most challenging. The last time I had a pretty difficult time drawing a character or drawing an illustration. What was the last huge illustration? I think it was the winter art print with the penguins. That one was pretty difficult to as well, but in a sense it was also easier because all the elements within that illustration were bigger. Like the penguins were not that small, like a lot of the stuff in this illustration, the snowman, the bird, the lily pads, the background. Even though it took me a long time to finish it, I wasn't like too overwhelmed with it because of the bigger parts of everything in that piece. But this piece is a little different. I'm also thinking, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Depending on how this piece looks like, I might consider eventually putting it in my Etsy shop in a few months. Like not after I put it in Patreon, but I might consider it because I have a lot of, how to say it, because I really love this piece. Even the 2019 version, I love it, and I have considered possibly putting this print up later in the future, but I'm not exactly sure because most of my Patreon stuff I am not putting it in the Etsy store because I can control the quantity and quality at home since I don't have to get it manufactured. But we'll see what I end up doing with this. Yeah, I think I'll put it up in the store, but then I think I'm gonna probably wait maybe a month or two after it's already been on Patreon to put it in the shop, because I know this is going to be a piece that once I eventually finish, I'm going to be really proud of. Even back then when I drew the 2019 piece, I was really proud of it, but then I don't know, maybe because I wasn't as well known back then, the 2019 piece did not do that well in the Etsy shop. Hopefully this one would do better. I've improved quite a bit since then, and my art style has changed, my coloring style has changed. Although I wish like I could color hair really well, because I think I colored the hair okay in that piece. It could have been better, but right when I was starting to actually color hair decently, in my opinion, I stopped drawing anime art. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to color her hair. Hope I'll pull it off. I have an idea. It's going to be really similar to how the 2019 version is, but we'll see. But it's most likely you will see this print. Maybe the print, I don't know about the sticker, because I'm still trying to figure out what the Patreon sticker is, because there's so much of her hair. So maybe it'll be her with her vine laurel and maybe all the fishes. I don't know how, I haven't even asked on Patreon. Maybe I'll ask on Patreon how patrons feel about having possibly a sticker bigger than 3 inches, because this piece has so many elements in it, and I might add all the fishes into the sticker, but I will have to cut the hair in the vine laurel around the rock here. I don't know, I'll figure it out once it's done, but still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do the sticker for Patreon. Is that okay? I think. Is that all of the shadows for the hair on the ground? I think so. Can go to the lighter color now. Why did I do that? Let's switch. There we go. No. I don't know if anyone else here uses Procreate, but I've been having a bit of problems sometimes with the color picker, where the thing, or when I pick a color, it doesn't accurately pick up the right color. It'll be a totally different shade. It's not, and it's not the right color. And I don't know why it does that. Maybe I'm just color picking wrong. I think a reason why, I already talked about this a little bit, but I think another reason why I think this artwork is taking too long is because I've also had to stop work on it multiple times to figure out other things. For example, yesterday I took most of the day to finish up the files for making my new products. If you've seen the last studio vlog, you would know that I am wanting to make some new acrylic keychains and acrylic coasters. And I actually changed one of the ideas for one of the acrylic keychains. I was going to do the Captain Froggo artwork, which is from the memo pad, and then I was also going to do the cat, the moon cat. But then at the last second, after I had already put in the files, I still have until the 5th or until tomorrow to figure out if I want to make any changes before the person in charge of the group order submits the files. And then the last second, even after I've submitted my files, I decided to change the cat moon acrylic keychain to a Mr. Sun keychain. And I did that because while I was working on the files, I was thinking about how I kind of miss the old Mr. Sun keychains, which you might have seen if you follow me for a while, or if you've shopped for my Etsy shop before. I did have some Mr. Sun keychains, acrylic keychains, but the keychain this time for the Mr. Sun is actually the sun from the transition in my studio vlogs, and I was a lot happier with getting that than the moon cat. So I ended up getting the Captain Froggo as acrylic keychain and the Mr. Sun with some of the clouds. So hopefully that was a good decision to switch it. I guess we'll see. Mr. Sun has done really well in my shop when I had his products. I made, what did I make? I never made a Mr. Sun sticker. I think I tried to make one. I don't really remember selling a Mr. Sun sticker, but I've made acrylic keychains and I made Mr. Sun rainbow window decals, and those sold pretty well in my shop when I did have them. So I decided to make a new Mr. Sun acrylic keychain. We'll test it out and we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't do well next time, I'll do the moon cat. But we'll see. I am expecting to get the keychains and coasters. It will be probably sometime in April that I'll get them, so I will not have them for NadashiCon, which kind of sucks, but that's totally fine. And because there will be other conventions happening around here, I saw that there was a convention, a cosplay, they call it Cosplay Fest. It's about an hour away from here. I found out about it, I think yesterday. Yeah, last night. I found out about it last night. It will happen in July, and it's about an hour-ish away, which is not too bad because Montreal, although there's the better conventions in Montreal's about 3-4 hours. So driving an hour plus-ish to go win at a convention doesn't sound bad. I'm just happy to figure out that there's more conventions around me than I thought, because I didn't know beforehand. I know like there's something called G Anime, and G Anime just happened not too long ago. Actually, I think G Anime happened, was it this past weekend? But I think that's closer to Montreal, so that's why I didn't consider that. And then this one at Trois Rivières, which is the one that's closer. That's an hour away. Depending on how NadashiCon goes, I might consider Otakuthon. But I think, I'm trying to remember if Otakuthon's usually in August. Is it in August? July or August? I don't think they would. You'll be at Otakuthon? That's awesome. You're gonna be an attendee? Like, I think that if I don't win at Otakuthon, oh, it's August 5th to 7th. Okay, awesome. Because it's like, there's no way that this other convention, the the one I'm talking about for vending at, it's going to be around the same time. Because Alpaca is the huge one. Like, no one's going to go to the other one if it's around the same date. Okay, August 5th to 7th. Okay. I still haven't totally checked it off for vending, but if we don't vend, we'll probably still just go to attend. Then again, it just depends on how everything goes. Then I'll have to consider all the fees. I was also a little worried about NadashiCon in general, even though NadashiCon is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes-ish away from where I live. If you go just based on how many followers they have, it's not that many, but I have really high hopes for it. I know that NadashiCon, the people in charge of NadashiCon, they have been doing a really great job with advertising it. I remember seeing them at Quebec Comic Con. I know they've been at Alpaca several times to advertise it, and Quebec Comic Con, I know they were advertising it because I went. I've seen them several times before I even considered vending. So they've been putting work on advertising it. So I'm hoping like it'll do well. I've seen some people talk about some people who live in Montreal not knowing if they want to consider a con in Quebec City, which is 3-4 hours again away. But then I also saw another person who said they did very well at the Quebec Comic Con. So even though they had all the fees, gas, hotel, and so on, they profited pretty decently. But then again, it's a Comic Con, so I think that's different from the anime convention. But I'm hoping I would at least profit, or at least get the table back. Hello 13 Tricks. I have quite a few favorite brushes. Right now I'll show you on Procreate the brushes that I use the most for my artwork. So for the artwork, just to put in the flat colors, I'm currently using this AO dry pastel brush, and AO stands for Asia Orlando. I believe that's her name, and she is an awesome artist. She has a bunch of brush packs, and as you can see, I use quite a few of her brushes. So this dry pastel brush I use to put down my flat colors, and this Asia Orlando Noise Crayon. They're both from the same pack, and I think it's a free pack that you can get off her site. And you can also leave, if you possibly can, if you decide to, you can also leave a tip for the brushes. And I use the Noise Crayon to add some texture to my artwork. I also use the dry ink brush that's already in Procreate a lot, and I use it for like the details, like the leaves, the lines on the leaves, and like these darker blue lines on the hair. Those are for like details like that. I use the soft brush as well to add soft colors. After doing the flat colors, I start off with the soft brush. So I use quite a bit of brushes. I also use this gloomy brush, which is also already in Procreate, and I use that for details like the darker parts and the lighter parts in the sand. It's kind of like my shade brush, but I don't really shade, I guess. It's more like an outline than shading. So as you can see here on the leaves back here, there's the kind of darker lines that are lighter, and the lighter green colors here, that's all the gloomy brush. So I use quite a few brushes when I do my artwork. I don't think I have one single favorite brush, but then all those brushes together is what I use to create my artwork. And it took a really long time, like just trying to find good brushes to do your artwork takes a really long time. And I just found like that the combination of all these brushes make me happy with the result of my artwork. And I could probably make it a lot more simple and a lot less layers, because I use a lot of layers in my brush. I use a lot of layers in my artwork. But yeah, I pretty much have like what how many brushes? That like 5 different brushes I use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I use 5. I use 5 different brushes in my artwork. If I have to think about, I don't think I have one that I think I use more than the other. You're welcome. Thank you for asking, and it's exciting to have someone from Germany here. I used to have a friend from Germany who I used to game with online, and he was really, really cool. I didn't keep in touch with him because I don't know, he was a soccer player, and I kind of miss him. But yeah, it's just fun to know that there's other people outside of Canada and outside of the US that might watch my stuff. It's kind of exciting. You never know how far your content goes. This hand, like when it's covered, it kind of bothers me, but before I put the hair over it, like it kind of looked okay. But now that I look at it, it just looks kind of funny. I might go fix it, or I might just leave it. Maybe I'm just stressing out over it for no reason. And at this rate, it looks like it's been almost 55 minutes, it seems. Looks like I'm doing okay progress, so hopefully I might finish this piece tonight. And then I also have to do later. I think I already have an idea of what I want to do for that extra sticker for Patreon for Froggaloo and Panda Club members, so we'll see if I get to that. To make it look a little bit better. Now the thing with learning how to draw the rocks is that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to color it. So we're just go with something for now. And then if I don't like it, I'll just figure it out later. That's how I felt. I started with coloring the hair. After I finished putting all the flat colors, I kind of looked at it as like, I don't know how I feel about that. So that's why I have some of the other layers turned off for the hair, because it's kind of wild. And maybe it'll look better once everything else is rendered. I do that a lot. I judge something for my artwork before it's done. And then later on I find that it actually doesn't look too bad. So maybe while we're working on this, I'll change my mind. Still not sure about these lighter like green pieces in front of the rocks. I might take that off or put a different plant there. But I don't know. I think it adds something, but at the same time there's so much already going on the ground with her hair and her really long leaf floral. So I don't know if having the different colored yellow green leaves in front will make any difference to the overall art piece. But then again, that's something I have to wait for till the end to figure out if it's worth keeping or not. I also really like her little outfit. Even though it's very simple, in the past I could never figure out how to draw a decent outfit, especially when I was drawing anime style. I was having the hardest time figuring out, is that what I want to do? Maybe I'll do it later. I was having the hardest time figuring out clothes. I'm not a very fashionable person, so trying to figure out clothes in general is really hard. But I was actually quite proud of this, and even the outfit that I had for the draw this in your style was pretty difficult as well. That was the last thing I figured out for the draw this in your style, and I'm honestly surprised that I went with like a Lolita-ish type looking dress or a puffy dress like that. But I'm glad I can just kind of figure out outfits now. I think that's impressive for someone who barely draws people. And these toes, I think the feet can definitely look better, but that's probably what I'm gonna go with, because that's also something I struggled with. There's a little thingy here. Okay, yeah. I considered making the girl's hair a lot shorter. But then I felt like if I made it shorter, then I wouldn't be satisfied with it being shorter. So that is why it's all over the ground still, like in the normal one. I didn't know how exactly sure I was going to consider making it. I think keeping the long hair is a good call if I figure out a way to make it look good. I mean, I think the way it looks right now, it doesn't look too bad without like the extra lines to separate the hair. Because I think with the little extra lines, it might be too much with the vine laurel she has on. But it's, again, something I just have to try. Because if I look at the old artwork, the hair was also colored quite simple. It was quite simple. And then the laurel was quite different too. I don't know. Think about like 500 things about this artwork while I'm working on it, and it's messing with me a little bit. I'm like second guessing myself on a bunch of decisions I made. But hopefully it'll look okay. Probably said that like 500 times already. But you know, if I pull this off, I'll be really proud of myself. There's a extra little bit of the line here. Okay. And then here too. So we have, is that everything? No. We're just kind of winging it with coloring the rock. Later on, if I find that it doesn't look good, I'll fix it, but we'll just go with what I normally do. And then if it looks good, that's good. a little spot there. Is that... I was a little messy when I was drawing the hair, but I know while I'm coloring this, I'll just find the little mistakes as I go. Okay. Okie dokie. We will go with that. And one of my favorite parts of rendering is just making these lines here darker. It's very simple, but it's quite satisfying. Then that's when you see the details of the stuff you were coloring. However, that might be a little too dark. It might. We'll just go with that because I want to see how it's gonna look like. The lighter, and maybe it'll look fine, but it does look a little dark. Because it's questioning everything I know right now. I still don't know about the yellow green leaves right there. I'm trying not to immediately cut anything off of the art piece in case it ends up looking good later on. Sounds like the wind has calmed down, which is nice. It's been non-stop wind for the past few, since yesterday, and the wind sound is the strongest in my room, and my room is the coldest out of all the other rooms. Yesterday when I went to bed, even though it was super cold last night because the wind is coming from this way and the room is on the other end of the apartment, like it was actually pretty warm in the bedroom. Then here it's super cold. It's just nice to not hear the constant wind blowing noise, because I feel like maybe this apartment or this building wasn't built to higher standards, so it doesn't block the weather elements that well. But it's still a really nice apartment. We already decided that we're going to stay here again for next year. Honestly, I do not want to move again. But yeah, it's nice to just not hear that noise. What did I do here? Did I make it smaller? Probably, if I keep these yellow green leaves in front of the rock, I'll have to go back and make them look nicer, because when I was drawing them, I drew them really quick thinking that I would probably take them out, so they're not as pretty looking as everything else. Usually I would draw, like, you see the vines in her hair. Usually I'll go ahead and draw all the little lines in the leaves before I even start rendering, because I didn't know if I was going to keep these yellow green leaves. I didn't even add the lines. So we'll see if I decide to keep that, because still questioning if it's worth it, because there's just so many leaves going on. That's why we're gonna go with the rock. That's how we're gonna do the rock for now. I think I'll probably later on add more shadow or shading, because the girl's sitting on it. Hold up. There's this. And I think that's it. Nope. There's just so much in front of the rock and on the rock. Do triple, quadruple check everything. And right here, such a long strand that totally missed it. Okay, focus. Actually I think I'm getting quite a bit done, so I'm happy about that, because honestly, if I wasn't live streaming right now, I would be so distracted. So doing the live stream was a good idea. I thought about doing it like the last second on Thursday. My husband has also been suggesting that I should probably do more live streams. So when I started, I did pretty good, I think. I don't think the first two live streams were, I think, kind of close to each other. And when I go live, like I'm not nervous. Right now I'm not nervous, which I'm really proud of. Because usually when I talk in front of a bunch, usually when I talk in front of people, I get super nervous. I think there's only one point, and when I was in school, that I was actually comfortable talking in front of people, and like I didn't have you know how your voice gets when you're not comfortable talking in front of people. I was able to finally achieve, how do I say it? I was finally able to overcome that and have like a normal good speaking voice. And I think that didn't happen till like I was in college. And then after that, I started having that nervous speaking voice again, because I haven't really needed to talk in front of a lot of people. And when I record myself for student vlogs, even though I'm directing, I missed it right here too. I have to pay super close attention. When I'm recording for student vlogs, it's not that bad, because even though I'm like talking to you guys, I'm still just talking to my camera. So it's not like someone's watching me while I'm recording. And even when I record in front of my husband, you know, when COVID started, oh man, I did not want to talk in front of the camera. I was so embarrassed to talk in front of the camera in front of my husband, because I didn't want him to judge me on what I was saying to the camera. And yeah, later on, I didn't care anymore. So I got super comfortable talking in front of the camera with my husband there. Now with my husband's family, that's a whole different thing. Like, they know I do YouTube, and they know that, or at least my mother-in-law and his father-in-law, they know that I do YouTube. So once in a while I might record something, but I try my best not to record too much when I'm going out with the family. But yeah, I'm just glad that I'm not nervous when I'm doing live streaming. I mean, even though like there might be mistakes that I do, or things I'm unsure of while I'm coloring, like this rock. I mean, at least it's showing that like I'm still suffering from trying to figure out this artwork. It's not really suffering, but like, I'm super doubting myself constantly while I'm still working on this artwork. Because I don't know, I think right now I think it looks okay. It looks good. It looks better than I thought it would, actually. And I think I just kind of need to stop doubting myself while I'm still working it. Just judge it once it's done. Because I'm super quick to judge my artwork, and I've had to kind of force myself to learn not to judge the artwork so quick while I'm still in the middle of it. Because most of the time, well, 98% of the time, I find that I actually like what I ended up doing more than I thought I would. But for this piece of artwork, it's harder for me to remember that. I don't know. I think it's also because I said, you know, this is a piece that I was very, very proud of when I first drew it. It is one of the bigger illustrations I drew back then. Like, I was not drawing, you know, backgrounds as much as I used to, and definitely was not drawing fish. So the way the fish turned out in the 2019 version, I think they look amazing. They look even better than this version's, I think. Yeah, I think the 2019 version fishes look better, but I don't know. I think I'm being a little bit harder on myself because it's like this one has to outdo the 2019 version, and it doesn't have to outdo it because the styles, the two styles are different. But I'm putting like this extra unnecessary pressure on myself because I guess it's like because my artwork's different, because I've improved, I have to show that I've improved, right? But in the end, it's still very stressful. I feel like there's a lot of beautiful elements in this version and a lot of beautiful different elements in the old version. However, I'm just stressed out while I'm working on this, and I don't think it's being stressed out from live streaming it too while I'm working on it, but it's just this, like, the stress of working on it has been there since I started working on it. Especially when I decided to revamp the entire piece instead of just... Oh, sorry. There was a Discord message from one of the group orders, and I wanted to make sure it was irrelevant to me, but I totally forgot what I was saying. But I'm just hoping, I'm just trying to remember, don't judge the piece before you're done. Like, give it a chance with where you're at. So I'm trying not to be too hard on myself while I'm working on this. But it's a little hard. Okay. Also, I really like the setup I have now for arting. Before, I was using a shoebox, but now I have like this wire thing that my husband was using before to hold his monitor while he was working, but he didn't need it anymore. So now I have it and I use it. It's almost the perfect height. It could be a little bit taller and it would be a lot more comfortable, but it's not too bad for the space I have, because this is in front of my keyboard and it just fits at the edge of the table that I'm using, so it's like perfect in that aspect. But it could be a little taller, but this is a lot better than using a shoebox. And I mean, the shoebox solved the problems and the needs I needed then, but it is a lot nicer. And I highly suggest, if you have a screen you have to look at while you're drawing, like an iPad or a tablet that has a screen and you're always looking down, to invest in some kind of stand if you can. Like this stand, I have a, what's the brand? A Parblo stand, and this is originally for, I think they have a brand of drawing tablets, so it's for their drawing tablets. But I use it for my iPad and it's perfect. I love not having to like look down like this all the time, because that can really bother your neck after a while. And it's also very comfortable when it's also pretty comfortable when I decide not to draw in my studio. A lot of times when I'm working on my Patreon artwork, I don't want to be in the studio all the time. So I will go and work on the sofa or on the couch in the living room, and I would take this stand with me with my iPad, and I will work on, and I'll just sit it on top of a nice fluffy pillow that we have that lays on my lap nicely, and it stays on there even though I have it at a weird angle sometimes, like literally like this, face it out like this sometimes. It works really well because the back of this stand actually has a, what is it, a rubber, yeah, some kind of rubber on the back, so it, even though it's on a pillow, it doesn't slip off. It's very nice. I would have to say, like, for drawing in general, it's one of the best investments I've ever done for myself. It's nice to not have to look down all the time to draw. So consider it if you're drawing a lot and you don't have a stand. This stand wasn't that expensive. It was, well, Canadian dollars. I think it was around $50 maybe. So that's not too bad. I think like the one that people suggest, or the one that's intended to use for the iPad, like you might have seen it, it's like a huge wooden board, and then there's a slit or a slot for your iPad. And although like a lot of people rave about it and a lot of people like it, I just think it's kind of inconvenient because it's so huge. So if I wanted to take my iPad to draw somewhere, it's not convenient for me. And I find that drawing without the stand is kind of difficult for me now because I really like having the stand. But I think the one that was intended to be used for the iPad, it's fairly expensive, but then people seem to really like it. Trying to figure out if I like how I colored her outfit. I think it looks okay. We'll finish it. We'll try to finish it and we'll see how it looks once it's completely finished. I'll also notice when I drew her outfits that I'm really into the little ruffly parts of her outfit. Like I did the exact same thing with the Draw This in Your Style, and I don't know why. But I thought it was interesting because when I was trying to figure out, I just started doing the squigglies for the ruffles. I was like, you know what? We're gonna go with that, even though I did it for the Draw This in Your Style. I kind of like it. side. It's about an hour and a half, a little bit over an hour and a half. I think we made pretty good progress. Again, I'm not exactly sure how long I'll stream for. But we'll see. Okay. Then the top. Okay, and then this should nope. Make it more simple like that. Here. Color this full in. Then we need to darken the outline for the outfit so you can see the lines better. Like that. And then we go with the lighter color. When I was redrawing this, I wasn't sure if I should just put hair over her body to cover everything. I decided to go with an outfit, even though in the original she doesn't have an outfit because of the way she's laying. When I drew the 2019 version, it took me forever to get the pose down. Did a lot of research for the pose, and even then I couldn't even find the right pose for it, but I managed to do it, and in the end it looked okay. But for this one, I decided to do an outfit. Okay, and then down here. There's something going on with the hair right here. The dot? No, it's part of the texture. It's all over the hair. Okay, so that's fine. Because it's part of the texture of the brush I used for her hair. Okay, that's good. Okay, now part of the hair up here too. I think for the outline I might want see how this way I changed it, it's not as bright. So I think that looks better. Okay. That looks good. Yeah. The cheeks next, and then there's the hair. It's gonna be super duper last. Hair is gonna be the last thing I deal with. Something more simple. The cheeks. Usually when I do illustration, the cheeks are one of the last things I work on. But for this piece, it's not that. Because usually when it's like Captain Froggle and Mashukan, it's the very last thing I color, and that's when I know that I'm almost done with the artwork. But here it's different. Got a bunch of other stuff to color, like all these fishes. I don't think the fish will be that hard to color. So I'm not too worried about coloring the fish. Okay. And overall, so far, it doesn't look too bad. Now, if I put the layers for the hair pack, I still think it'll probably be too much. Here's the part for the back, which is the lighter part of the back of the hair. And then we have the blue. Then here is, it's still too much. I think in the end, I'm just gonna have to completely change it. But yeah, I think that'll be too much for the over artwork. It's just like when I turn the hair, what I did do for the hair on is like that's all I can stare at. It's the hair, like the center right here. I just stare at that. So yeah, that's I think that just confirms that that's not gonna work. I think it also depends on how the laurel or the leaf florals turn out on her hair. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. I'm looking at the older piece. I'm hoping that this won't turn out too light, but I have to try it. A little fun fact, the color palette that I'm using for this artwork is the same color palette I used to do the Captain Froggo goodies. So once this Patreon month is over, I'm not going to use that palette for a while. For me, I'm someone who likes to use like different color palettes, and sometimes using the same color palette makes me, what is it, like I just get tired of using the same color palette. So I'm not someone who likes to stick to just a few colors. There's a lot of artists who do that, and they do great. They do a wonderful job at it, but I'm just someone who needs to be using different colors sometimes. And I almost didn't use this color palette, but for all the elements I wanted to add into this piece, I thought there was no point to waste my time to look for another color palette, because this color palette was already fine for my needs. So we're going with that. I think we're going to hide Mr. Jellyfish for now, so I can see the leaves back there. Hopefully I won't forget about him as I continue with the artwork. I could possibly forget about Mr. Jellyfish, but hopefully I catch that and I'll bring him back. I was also worried about how much green there is in this artwork, even though there are different shades of green. I was just worried about if I can make it work. This yellow green up here ish color is a little bit extreme. Still, I don't know, I'm just like second guessing everything. But that's just how it is. I think this is the first artwork in a long while that I've kind of felt like this while I'm working on it. But I think it's just all the expectations I have for it. not to say I didn't have expectations for my other pieces that I've drawn, but because this is a redraw of an O piece, I've set these unnecessary standards for myself. So I've been a bit more picky with it as I work on it. But I think hopefully in the end it'll be worth it. I feel like I'm gonna have to mess up like really, really bad to not be happy with this. Because right now it looks okay overall, which I'm happy about. In the end, I'm gonna have to add like the light for the ocean and everything, but that's not a big deal. I don't know if I want to add details to the ground or the sand here at the bottom, but then again, it just all depends on how I do the hair. Okay, this leaf floral is gonna take me a while to finish, especially with how I render artwork. I've thought of changing my render style a few times, but then I decided not to change it because I think right now I'm satisfied with it. And while I decided to change my art style from anime style, it took forever to figure out a lot of things, such as all those brushes I mentioned earlier, like which of the brushes I wanted to use, how I wanted to use them, which brush is going to do what in my artwork. Right now this looks horrible, but I know it's gonna look okay after. We shall see. Because this is probably gonna be the last thing I color on stream. And if it doesn't turn out, it's okay. I can fix it later. Okay. Like right now the color looks like really dark, but the way I render is I'm gonna have a really light color on top, and then afterwards I like to kind of calm down the bright color by lightly going over the artwork again with a mid shade of the darker color, so the lighter color isn't all up in your face. I'd be like, look at me, I'm a bright color. So I think we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that it doesn't, because it's starting to look a little grayish, that hopefully it's not like, why does Procreate keep doing that? It doesn't become somewhat similar to the rock. I don't think it will, but you never know. This is a very light green color to start off with. The brush is too big. when I started drawing the laurel on her head, I was looking at how I drew it in the overshed. I was starting to wonder, how did I ever, how did I have the patience to do that? Because I've never been someone who has drawn really detailed artwork. And for me, the laurels in her hair, especially in the old ones, it's, to me that's detailed because it's really small and I have to go into like all the leaves individually, and there were leaves on both sides. And I don't know how I had the patience for that. I would like to say I'm a pretty patient person, especially as someone who does arts and crafts as well. You know, that's something you have to do arts and crafts. But when I was doing the laurels for this, I was like, how did I do this for the anime style artwork? I always thought that I would be one of those artists who did very detailed anime artwork in the future, but I found out after trying multiple times that is not what I want to do. Because I feel like I just don't have the imagination to make that kind of artwork possible. Like, I am always in awe when I see the really beautiful detailed pieces that people do, but I know that that's not something I'm going to enjoy. I prefer to do a little bit more, well, this is, I don't know how simple you would consider this, but about something like this is what I prefer. Maybe one day I'll do the more detailed artwork, but for now, where I'm at, I'm pretty comfortable. This is already starting to look better with the light color on top. Like I said, it was pretty muddy, starting to look kind of muddy, but this light color already makes it look a little better. And then I'm about to go over it once all the lighter color is on to soften the bright color a bit. And that's something that's just something I started doing this year, because still, even though it's probably this is the second, how many prints have I worked on this year? I did the Draw This in Your Style, I did last month's Patreon art print, and this one, so in 3, and not counting the extra stickers that I've done for Patreon or for the Etsy shop, just full illustrations. I think this is the 3rd. So even now, because I wanted to have more color in my artwork, or more, I pushed myself to use more colors. The way I figured out so far is that I'm trying to use, I guess, more saturation. As you can tell, that's like really bright. So I'm trying to use more saturated colors, but I don't want it to be so saturated that it overcomes the darker parts of the artwork. So I try to calm it down with the color that's in between the two, the darker and lighter color. That doesn't look too bad. Here it's kind of a little bit harder to do because because the leaves are so small, and usually I don't draw too many small things like this. I think the last thing I drew that was pretty small was probably the baked goodies for last month's art prep, but that wasn't too bad to do because there wasn't like 500 leaves to color. So right now, okay, that doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. So we're starting to question. I was mostly worried about this back strand of leaf vine lanyard, whatever you want to call it. But it looks like it's okay. Did I do this top part? I don't remember. I think I did. I don't want to completely remove like the dark spots I've done. So I'll go in between somewhere right here and find a shade that's not completely dark, like some bits of the light color and some bits of the darker color. Then I'll go over the light. But right now I kind of like how it looks like. So I might add another clipping layer just to see how it looks like. And try to calm the lighter colors by just lightly going over them. I don't think I need to do the lighting. I don't think I need to like calm down the light colors because the light color is not as saturated as it is for other colors. Like you can see the slightest difference. This is with it off and this is with it on. So there's the slightest difference. But I think because the saturation is not too overwhelming for this color in general, I think this is an exception. And what I'm gonna do is before I go over it with the glooming, because that's gonna take a very long time. I need to darken the leaves and the little details here so I can see it better. Usually I do this after I kind of outline it, but because there's so much of it, we'll go ahead and do it. It's kind of satisfying to see like the color change for the details. Okie dokie. Now we do the part I call the outline slash shading, which I don't know why I started doing this, but I feel like it's kind of like doing line art but not doing line art, and it just makes my artwork stand out a little bit more. When I do this, I try to find the darkest part of my artwork for the color I'm going for. So because I'm going for a darker shade of the color I already used, I'm probably gonna go with like this section right here, because that seems to be possibly the darkest. Yeah, that's the darkest section. And I'll just simply move my thing over, and we will outline everything that needs to be outlined. And because I also outlined the leaves, the lines in the leaves, each and every single of those V shapes, it's gonna take quite a while to do. So I don't know if I will stream at all here. I might end the stream soon. It's been about 2 hours, and this, I don't know how long this is gonna take to finish, or this section in general. I don't think I got the color change on that. It's okay. See how far I get, because I don't want to possibly bore you guys with just outlining the leaves, because I'll be going like this line here, and then the V's like this. So that's gonna happen to every single leaf. This is probably not even probably, this is the part that I'm dreading the most about this piece, because I know this part is what's going to take the longest to color. But then it just looks nice when I do it. That's exactly why I do it for like the background here. Like it might look like not much, but if I take out, I'll show you guys quickly. I take out that outline, that's how it looks like. But I think by doing the outline the way I do it, like this, it gives it more dimension, and I think it just makes it look better. So that's why I do that. Even for these leaves, even how small they are, I think even though it'll take a while, I think it'll be worth it. So I don't want to bore you guys with just lining this, but it's something I need to do for this. So I hope you guys don't mind. That's also why I went ahead and tried to figure out the hair, because I knew that that hair was going to take a while to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out the hair, and I knew that that was something I did not want to be doing on stream, because I had figured out a way to do it, and then the way that I have it now, I completely changed it. And for some reason I deleted the layers from when I first from when I first did it. So there's 2 different times I tried to render the hair, and for some reason, usually I don't do this. Usually I would keep the layers for the sections that I did, even though I redo it just so I can compare the 2 differences. And I was so confident that I was going to keep it the way I had showed you guys already. This is wrong. That I went ahead and deleted what I did the first time. And I'm kind of mad at myself because it took a long time to render, because it's basically a bunch of lines, thinner lines going following the curves of the hair throughout the whole piece. And as you can see, there's a lot of hair, so there's a lot of lines curving here and there and everywhere. And I ended up deleting it because, like I said, I was so confident I was gonna go with what I had been showing you guys, and in the end I am going to go back to what I did in the first place. So I'm a little sad about it. But it is what it is. And next time I know that I shouldn't be so confident that I'm gonna do one over the other. And that's just a mistake on my part, and that's something I just have to deal with. And I made that decision I had made the decision for the hair before I started working on the lighter portions of the hair. And when I saw the dark portions that I did, I said, oh, this is definitely what I'm going to do. It looks great. So that's why I deleted what I did the first time. And then after I did the lighter parts, I was like, oh no, this is not going to work. This art piece is too simple for what I'm trying to do with the hair, because I'm wondering how I would have rendered it if I was still doing anime artwork. And I was also kind of doing it for the past pieces I've done this year, the last year's Patreon art print, the Draw This in Your Style art print that I did. But it's not gonna work for the style. And I really wish I didn't delete those layers. It looked good, but then I was like, hey, I was doing it like this, so let me try it out. I spent so much time on that. Little thingy right here I can erase. Does it need to be there? Double check to see it's the right layer. Because when I was drawing the hair, I accidentally started working on the wrong layer. And I thought I was gonna go crazy. But at least it's an easy fix. That's the beauty of digital art. Another thing I really like as part of the rendering process is finally laying down the lighter color when I'm doing this outline part, because I feel like the lighter part just brings out the dimensions more. But of course it does, because I've already layered the dark colors on there, but I get excited when I get to that part. It's one of my favorite parts of rendering my artwork. And I think for almost 2 hours and 15 minutes, I've gotten quite a bit done. So I'm really happy about that. One of the things that really annoys me, like it's happening right now with Procreate, is I did have it on the option where, what's it called, the option where you can have your hand on the screen, and when you touch it, it's not gonna affect it, right? Forgot what that's called. But then when I turn that on, Procreate sometimes starts acting up, and it'll have problems with reading my pen, and the program will stop completely, and I have to kind of restart it by closing the app. But then because I have that option off, I mean, it's easier to do artwork on here, and it flows nicely, and I don't have a problem with Procreate like suddenly stopping for no reason since then. But then it gets annoying because then it'll sometimes randomly move the artwork to a different section, like it's done a few times already during the stream, and it'll sometimes mistake the gestures because I use double tap to undo, so it'll sometimes mistake that gesture, and it'll erase things that I'm content with, or make things I didn't want reappear for no reason. So it's kind of annoying. I don't know if there's a way to fix it, so when I touch it with my hands, like in a motion or like a drawing motion, it doesn't register it as another command. But That's one of the annoying things about Procreate. There's so many leaves. Like, I'm getting things done, and then I feel like I'm also not getting things done because it just looks like the goal to finishing is just further and further. Just gotta keep doing it. Gotta keep doing it. Because I know it'll look good once I'm done. And no matter how much I complain about there being too many elements, it's what I drew, so I'll deal with it even though I might be complaining about it. Oh, also, yesterday, for the first time in a very long time, yesterday evening, after I finally stopped working on this piece, which wasn't until like really late, like my hand was hurting right here from, I guess, sliding all over the screen. And I haven't had that problem in a really long time. And before I had this iPad, when I had like the iPad Air 1, which was something I bought from a Facebook Marketplace because I wanted to see if having an iPad in Procreate was something I actually wanted to have. And even though I couldn't use the Apple Pencil, like I still end up enjoying it, so this is why I have an iPad now. But I had a glove back then, which was very useful, but it wasn't like the best glove because of the seam that was like right here for the hand. And yesterday was the first time in a very long time that the side of my hand started hurting from arting so much. And ever since I got this iPad, I've never had that problem. How long have I had this iPad? It's been over a year, right? I think it's been over a year. I think so. I can't really remember that I've had this. I was kind of surprised when I started hurting there a little bit. But I think it's just, again, from stressing out from this art piece and trying to rework things too much, like the hair. And right now it's okay, but in the future, if for some reason that happens again, I'll have to buy a glove. But that was just kind of weird that happened randomly. Also, I've thought about buying new Apple Pencil nibs, but honestly, I haven't needed to, because I know a lot of people have talked about how their pencil nibs, their Apple Pencil nibs doesn't last them that long, but I haven't changed mine once since I got it. But I don't think I pressed that hard when I used the pencil, which is kind of funny because when I was in school and I was writing things down, like I would push a pencil down really, really hard to write things, like almost to the point where my finger here would start hurting. And that's why I kind of have like a little bit of a bump on this finger, because that's how I wrote. So I'm surprised that the nib has lasted me for this long. I've seen people's Apple pencils where like you can see, what is it, like the wire? I don't know, the piece that can twist into the pencil. It's like, how hard do you guys push the pencil down? Because there's been some people have said that having a paper like cover on your iPad screen actually is bad for the pencil. And I have a matte screen protector. It's not exactly the paper brand, the brand that everyone always usually talks about, but honestly I've not had a problem with it. But then the matte screen might be a problem for like why my hand is hurting here on the side. It's starting to hurt a little bit. Just when I said it wasn't hurting anymore, right? But yeah, I just thought it was weird. Almost done with this vine of leaves. There's 6 more. I thought that was a random mark too, but that's from the hair piece. That's from the hair outline. need to adjust my position. And drink some water. I really like this cup. I got this cup from Walmart. I think it's supposed to be like a mermaid kind of cup. But it's hard to hand wash because the hole to drink out of is so small. And as you can see, if you look from the left side of the vines and the right side, you can definitely tell the difference between the two. Still have quite a few leaves left to go, but I think I'm going to end it here. We're actually at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Hi Lemon, thank you for coming. I'm actually just going to go ahead and end the stream here because there's a lot of these leaves left to do and I don't want to bore you guys with that, and I need to go do some other stuff. But thank you for joining me for this live stream. I hope yeah, I'm sorry about that. But thank you for dropping by. If you want to, you can still watch the live stream when it goes up. I think YouTube automatically puts it up later, but I'm not exactly sure how long. But thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. But yeah, this is how far we got, and thank you so much for dropping by. I really appreciate it. I might consider doing more live streams in the future if that's what you guys like or want to do. I just need to figure out a better time, I guess. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later, and thank you so much for being here. So bye.